The first new concept, that of stretching the brain, is based upon the fact that the brain is a combination of both physical and mental processes. Therefore, the beginnings of educational reform need to have to do with physical exercise of the brain. The brain is a muscle, after all, and the layers of tissue within that brain need to have exercise just like any other parts of the body. In fact, it even requires more exercise because it is layered so heavily that there is much more solid tissue in the brain than there is in your whole leg that you exercise every day for long periods of time. The exercise that the brain needs to have is microscopic in comparison, but it is needed. For instance, just the mechanism of thinking requires the movement of billions of cells. These cells need to be loosened up starting at a very early age. The mental stimulation cannot express without the cooperation of the physical tissue of the brain. This can be stimulation of basic knowledge, such as toilet training, which needs to be taught with more involvement of the thinking processes. Concentration on the effort involved in learning to walk will not just get the legs to do it, but will stretch and loosen the brain cells involved in that walking taking place. Where it must begin is in being aware mentally of the physical movements of other parts of the body. Everything the child plays with as he grows, even his rattle, should be talked about to him. It is the association of the physical movement involved with a knowing in his brain that will exercise the tissues of the brain and begin a correlation between physical movement and brain function. Music is valid and viable as a preparatory method for opening the channel early in children. Much more can be done with music to help children use their full powers in later life. This is an area of extreme importance for humans because the musical vibration is what will cause the breaking of the ethereal divider between the levels of the brain. There are membranes of ethereal matter, a higher, finer vibratory rate, separating each of the 4 sections of the brain, and smaller membranes separating the 3 levels in each section. The one between the levels is not as strong, and the child's own singing sets up a vibration within his own body that will cause this fine membrane to disintegrate at a faster pace and allow the child to access the next higher level of brain power earlier than has taken place so far. The actual scientific meaning of the word enlightenment means the breaking of these membranes between each section of the brain. When one is totally enlightened, each section of the brain is open to stretching with new thought. Any section that has not had the membrane broken will not be open to the stretching. It is held in tight constriction and cannot allow any new thoughts to enter. These are the membranes that music will help open earlier in children, especially their own singing. But any musical vibration that they are exposed to constantly will have the effect of allowing them quicker access to brain power. In other words, raise their IQ, if you will. For this reason, everyone will be taught to sing as wee small babes. This is an emotional release that is the right of all humanity to be able to employ. There is not nearly enough of it taught today. Each day should begin with class singing. When done as a class, the effect would be 4 times that of each individual child singing by himself. What is needed is a music singing course for each division or age. We need to access whatever skills each age group's particular brain is capable of and stimulate it in that area. For instance, the 2-year-old child's brain is capable of big motor movements, so the whole body should be involved as much as possible in this age group. Those who are 3 years old can start separating the parts of the body. Those who are 4 years old can differentiate between right and left and use individual fingers and have a start on split brain thinking capabilities. Those who are 5 years old add the ability to focus for longer periods of time, and the 6-year-old adds the ability to access all of this at one time. 2 years old. Going by these guidelines, a course could be laid out for teaching those who are 2 years old whole body involvement as being the notes themselves. These 2-year-olds will have limited vocabulary and singing function in their voice. They are limited to do sing-song type of melodies, best with words that they can easily relate to, such as dog, cat, bed, eat, and things having to do with their physical world, their limited physical world. The 3-year-olds. Those who are 3 years old would be able to draw the notes on paper. The 3-year-old is capable of singing the different pitches of the whole scale and has a much increased vocabulary, able to relate to movements and beginnings to incorporate thoughts into word pictures. 4 years old. Those who are 4 years old would be able to understand the time values of the notes. The 4-year-old is able to sing jumps in music, to differentiate between high and low, and as far as words, is able to understand the thought behind a sentence and relate it to his life in his own way, each in their own way. 5 years old. Those who are 5 years old can play the notes on the piano. The 5-year-old can actually understand the quality of pitch in their own voice and the difference between full tones and weak tones, and the ability to sing in harmony is accessible in this age group, believe it or not. 6 years old. Those who are 6 years old can weave the notes together into a piece. The 6-year-old is still in the baby voice box mode, but is very flexible in changing keys and hearing the subtle shadings of the different keys, and is quite capable of writing his own lyrics. This age group has the physical ability to understand breath control as related to pitch and duration in their own singing. The ultimate goal of the halls of training is to prepare a child for the opening of the creative channel. If a person never opens the back of his brain, the creative channel, he will start the next life with the same old outworn concepts that he lived this one by, and will not have made any progress in this life, or perhaps just a little. Once a person opens up the back of the brain, however, progress is fast and phenomenal. His growth and evolvement will take gigantic leaps and bounds. In order for this process to take place, there needs to be many more challenges to the thinking and reasoning processes of the brain. All schooling must be based on stretching the mind. The mind will not stretch until it is full. This statement should tell you that the more that is given a child to accomplish, the more he or she can accomplish. As the human progresses, he becomes more aware of a feeling of bonding with the different kingdoms at different stages of his growth. At the present time, there is no precise order that this awareness progresses through, but it is all leading to the same point, that of instinct becoming refined to intuition, which will open the channel. In the future, early schooling will focus on the ability to transmute instinct to intuition. The way to sharpen up the intuition is by interacting with other people and also with the animal and plant kingdoms. The environment will play a large part in how easily a child can transmute instinct to intuition. The way they are brought up and the people who influence them when they are in their formative years, those from 1 to 7, are the most important influences in their ability to ease into intuition and out of instinct. This is why the different playgrounds in chrysalis schools will be incorporated into the learning process. These playgrounds will be designed around the different kingdoms, mineral, botanical, and biological, both animal and human. They will follow a structured pattern of usage by actually being incorporated into the curriculum. They will allow children to relate to the other kingdoms, which will help open the channel to the higher realms. These playgrounds will be a marvelous opportunity to instill in children a thinking process of wonder and awe that no learning out of books will give. Children's dreams can quite often show them as flowers, birds, or animals, or perhaps back even further as rocks and stones. This is part of the child's fascination with rocks and stones and plants and animals. This is where their dreams are going to be located to begin with. The memory cycle of the brain will follow evolution. It is as simple as that. For the playgrounds, this would be the mineral kingdom, the botanical kingdom, and both parts of the biological kingdom, the animal and the human, in that order. In the mineral kingdom playground, the actual touching of the different stones and pebbles, climbing on rocks, and watching the sun shine on them will be the things that a child will relate to instinctively as being part of the Creator. They will experiment with building dams and bridges and buildings and statues and many items out of the rocks, stones, and pebbles. They will improve in math by sitting and counting stones. The children will touch into other realities momentarily by sitting and rubbing the stones or gazing at a stone that sparkles in the sun. The different colors of the rocks will enable them to know that we can never artificially reproduce nature's colors, and will allow their minds to not be locked into the set colors that we are able to reproduce. The process of crumbling rocks and the blowing around of the grains of sand will lead the child's mind into understanding the process of change, which is what all life is about. Also in the mineral kingdom garden, the rocks and stones will give off an energy that these young children will be easily able to assimilate into every cell of their body. This garden will eliminate the necessity of manufactured vitamins. The sun shining on the rocks releases their nutrients into the air around them, undetected by adults, but felt by children. The names of the different rocks will be marked, and the children will automatically learn to recognize these items when they travel elsewhere. The spelling of the words will come much easier in class. Drawing pictures will be a natural for the children who play in this playground of nature. The Botanical Kingdom Playground. This will be a delightful maze of trails and paths and small streams and waterfalls. The children's imagination will grow and expand in this playground. They will become involved in the process of growth as they watch the flowers grow in the spring or die in the fall. This will cause the concept of reincarnation of humans to become a truth in their mind. They will know that if the plants and flowers do it, then so also do humans. This will eliminate the need of having to teach reincarnation of the soul to closed minds. The mind will be open and receptive, and understanding will be easy. The green will promote a feeling of peace and ease the stress of the school day. The chlorophyll given off by the plants will promote healthy bodies and enhance thinking processes. The Biological Kingdom Playground, the Animal Division. This playground will allow the most beautiful opening of a child's mind that can be seen. They will learn of mother love and father nurturing. They will receive a beautiful sex education that will cause them to respect their bodies and be in awe of the process of change that their bodies go through. All of this will come about by watching the animals. This will be one of the most important classrooms in the schools. The animal playground will have not only a petting zoo approach, but also observation of natural habitat where the children can watch a mother feed her young. Observation classes will be scheduled for impending births. The children will help with the feeding process of many of the animals. The association with the animals and watching the interaction between species will teach behavior patterns that no textbook could ever hope to achieve. The opening of the creative channel will be much widened by those playing in this playground. The process of acting and reenacting on instinct will be transmuted to the use of the intuition by watching and playing with the animals. It will be a natural changeover, one that will not have to be forced by the transmutation of attitudes that the adults today must go through in order to become more intuitive. The Biological Kingdom Playground, the Human Division. The Human Kingdom Playground will have many gymnastic-type structures, plus athletic fields, and an imagination city where children's fantasies can be played out. They will take on different roles in their playing, which will bring about self-expression and stretching of the mind. There will be many items for building to be found in this playground. They will include large blocks made out of lightweight material and colorful wheels and gears similar to Lego sets and erector sets, only on a large scale. The Human Kingdom Playground will be for the expression of presentation sports. The athletic field will be equipped with bleachers, scoreboard, and video camera capabilities. In each playground, there will be water plus many healthful fruit drinks available. This playground will also be for the use of the imagination for coming up with games that allow the children to learn how to act with other children, how to sense what the other child is going to do as his reaction to your action. The understanding of action and reaction will be gained here, and understanding in this process is using the intuition. The brain is capable of unlimited growth, and it stands to reason that there can be no limitations imposed on humans. This is where our education process is failing, by setting limits on what is expected of children. This is absolutely the wrong way to encourage the growth of the brain cells. No one should ever have any limits imposed on him at any time as to what he is capable of understanding and learning and using as tools to live by. Our brain cannot be taken back, traded in, if you will, on a newer, larger model. We must work with what we were blessed with, which is so much more than the animals have that we should count our blessings each and every day. At the same time, we need to do all we can to take care of and upgrade the model of motor that is driving our vehicle. To do anything less is a sin, if you care to use that word, against ourselves. The stretching and exercising of the brain needs to start at home, continue in the preschools, and work on up into all grade levels, even that of college. This is a difficult and long-reaching project, but can be done. The problems facing getting this step incorporated into family life are tremendous. It must start in two places at once, in educating the adults and the children at the same time. Future schooling will cover the first 20 years or so of life, probably more. The halls of training and the halls of learning are the lower grades. The halls of knowledge and the halls of wisdom are the higher. They each encompass higher goals so that a college education is completed by the time they leave the halls of knowledge. After that, they will enter the halls of wisdom. These are specialty schools of short duration because a student will already have the equivalent of a college education. The goal of the earth plane schooling system for a soul is to learn mastery of the physical form and to evolve it to where it is totally usable for all that the soul can apply to it. It will take generations. It has taken generations to bring it to this point and will take generations to carry it further.